How are you getting on, folks? I suppose before we start, I want to apologise on a couple of things. Obviously, Thurles was a write off. We may as well forget about it at the end of the day. We're going to have these days where it just doesn't go our way, and unfortunately, Thursday was one of those. Um, Really and truly, it was very, very disappointing. The fact that Thurles is, I suppose you could class it as one of my local tracks that I do like to get, I suppose, as many winners as I possibly can around it. But it didn't fall into plan really at the end of the day. Um, and the second part is I want to, I suppose, apologise for the lateness of the video. I've been very busy, I suppose, over the past couple of days. I'm looking into the future, looking into next year. Hopefully, going to expand the Peaky blogger a little bit, and I suppose work off a more, I suppose, a professional standard. Really, at the end of the day, we're really going to start pushing better quality, better, I suppose, content, everything else like that, and yeah, I've been absolutely up to my eyes preparing a couple of things. I can't really say too much about it, but we'll hopefully have more, I suppose, news to come by the end of the month or at the start of December, going on into next year. So make sure to keep an eye on that. It's going to be very, very exciting times. Now, moving on then to Navan tomorrow. It definitely looks to be a very good card on the, I suppose, on the boards. Really, the Troytown is possibly one of the best races, I suppose, that, I suppose, the early gearing up for Cheltenham at the end of the day is one of the it's one of the better races around Ireland. It wouldn't necessarily be a grade one at the end of the day. But yeah, it's definitely great racing on tomorrow. It definitely, if whether you're going to have a bet tomorrow or not, it's definitely going to be a day just to sit back and watch some very, very good quality racing. There is some high class horses running here tomorrow, and yeah, it looks to be great value. There isn't a single horse in this list of, I suppose, selections that are even close to odds on at the end of the day. So there is great value out there. If you're going to be having a bet, the very best of luck. But we may as well continue on. Starting off the 12 o'clock, we're going to go with Run Wild Fred here at 2-1. This one here looks to be the best value at the end of the day. Obviously, you have to take it into consideration. Gordon Elliott is only up the road from Navan. He has the favourite here for the Jigginstown horse, or Jigginstown stud. Really and truly, it does look to be the class horse on form. I'm not going to deny it. Whether it's going to win tomorrow or not, I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't be screaming and shouting about 6-5 at the end of the day. It doesn't look to be great value for this particular horse. What does look to be great value though is this 2-1 for Run Wild Fred. Previous course and distance winner, absolutely loves it around Navan. We know that he's going to handle the ground. Coming from the Noel Mead stable, who is in absolutely flying form. Really and truly, when you put the whole race into perspective, it's between the top two. That's the best way I can put it, really, at the end of the day. And the fact that Navan is known to be very kind for horses that handle the track and handle the ground and handle the conditions that they're given, especially around Navan. Navan is a very tricky old track to, I suppose, get winners on, especially if they haven't won, I suppose, at the track previously. But this Run Wild Fred has won here in the past and has beaten some fairly decent rivals. In my opinion, 6-5 and 2-1. The value is there 2-1. At the end of the day, hopefully, I'd love to see Run Wild Fred putting the, I suppose, experience into good use. Going on, I suppose, taking this Jigginstown horse, I suppose, maybe 2 out or 3 out when it hits the straight, basically, and it should be able to put up a very, very good fight. Really and truly, you're getting a good run for your money there at 2-1. Next race off then, the 12:30. We're going to go in an each way shout here now with Annexation for the Henry de Bromhead team. Currently trading around 5-1, although there is a slight danger there for N'Golo at 13-2, but my eye is firmly drawn here on annexation for the Henry de Bromhead team. Like I said already, you want horses that are going to handle Navan, and you want horses that are going to handle the ground. Annexation is a previous course and distance winner over hurdles, last time out. It was very, very impressive that day. Now, that was, I think, on good, if I'm not mistaken, but this particular horse has handled soft in the past when running on the flat. Put up some very, very good efforts. There's been a few seconds, a few close finishes. Really and truly, the softer the better, really, for this horse here. I think this 5-1 price about it is an absolute steal tomorrow. It's definitely well worth getting on board each way. We know the horse absolutely loves it around Navan. We know, I suppose, that the horse is going to handle the ground conditions, and the fact that it's coming from the Henry de Bromhead stable with Rachel Blackmore on board, you're really and truly getting plenty of value there. Like I said, N'Golo is the danger at 13-2. By far, it looks to be the standout horse on form. You just, I suppose, have to look up the form with Malone Road in Listowel last time out. The worry is the ground, it's soft and it's still raining here, so more than likely it's going to go soft to heavy. Overall, we don't know how well this horse is going to handle the softer ground. I'd have a few doubts, especially with the mark rising and the weight, I suppose, being piled on this horse's back. I think the price is speaking volumes about his chance tomorrow. I think the fact that he is drifting out, he's probably just in a little bit too deep. But I definitely think annexation at 5-1 is a great value bet. Next race of the day then, 1 o'clock, Super Sunday, 4-1. This one here is going to be the nap of the day. Really and truly, people might be wondering why I'm not picking Sire de Burley. The simple reason is, more than likely, it's going to need a run. Ronald Pump then in second favourite, I think, is currently trading around 3-1. Ronald Pump is more of a 3-miler. 2 mile 4 wouldn't really be his sort of trip. I would, I suppose, think the race is going to be run slightly too quick for him. Moving on then to Super Sunday. The trip he loves, the ground he loves, everything is falling into place with this horse. 4-1 is an absolute crazy price. It's an insult to a very, very talented horse. Really and truly, it won't need to be too much at its peak best to beat this field here now tomorrow. At the end of the day, Super Sunday is a graded hurdle winner at the end of the day. It I suppose it should really be favourite, and it should be a fairly sharp price favourite at the end of the day. The fact that it's 4-1, it's an absolute steal of a price in my opinion. And I can't see a horse that's going to even trouble it tomorrow. Next race then, the 135. Another each way shout here now in this one for the people who have been listening to my, I suppose, Cheltenham anti-post bets. You'd have heard this horse's name mentioned a few times. Aforementioned at 9-1. This is definitely, I suppose, one that I think is going to have a very, very good say in the 4-miler. I think he's running. I think I pull him up at. But look at the way I see it. It's a horse that we know likes the ground conditions. Look at, obviously Ronan McNally is coming in here with the Jam Man, with Paul Townend on board. That nearly is enough of a tip in itself. But for the Troytown chase, we're looking for horses that are a small little bit better value at the end of the day. The Jam Man isn't really at an each way price now anymore. So really and truly, you'd be sort of looking to see whether he is actually going to, I suppose, win or not. Look at, more than likely he will win, but aforementioned has some serious form. Check your status, or what's your status? What's your status for Garage O'Loughlin. He's after coming up and boosting the form since. This aforementioned is after winning the Munster National. More than likely, it's still a fairly reasonable mark. The last win came on soft, so we know he's going to handle the ground conditions tomorrow. Coming from the Gordon Elliott team, only up the road. I would have strong fancies at this horse at 9-1. In my personal opinion, look at it, definitely does look to be an each way price. Another, I suppose, danger you could be looking at here is Fitzhenry. I don't actually know. I don't have it written down what price he is, but he's larger than 9-1 anyway now at the minute. Really and truly, like the horse was second last year in similar ground conditions when, well, look at it, was well beaten by Chris's Dream at the end of the day, but it still ran on to be a very good second as well. But yeah, look at aforementioned 9-1. It definitely looks to be one of the better value picks of the day that should be able to run a very, very solid race. Very sound jumper, likes the ground, should like Navan. I'd have no problem tipping this horse up at 9-1. Next race then, an each way shout here now. People might think I'm going to go with the A Plus Tard, but I'm not. One of the only course and distance winners in this field. Castlegrace Paddy at 15-2 definitely looks to be the value bet of the day. Like I said, A Plus Tard second in this race last year. Although it is in much calmer waters, I would have my doubts. The fact that it's yet to win in Navan is one of the key aspects for me. Navan, people think Navan is just a playground for these Cheltenham horses, but Navan is a tricky old track to win on. Like, really and truly, like as I said, I must sound like a broken record now at this stage talking about the course form, but that's exactly what it boils down to. Castlegrace Paddy has won Grade 1s in the past. There's definitely life in the old dog yet anyway at the end of the day. I would be expecting to see this horse chase home A Plus Tard if A Plus Tard is fit and ready to go on to win. But don't be surprised to have a little bit of a shock. Castlegrace Paddy has shocked in the past before, and he could well shock again now tomorrow. 15-2 is a great each way value bet. Next race then, the 245, another each way shout here now with this one. Far Mix for the Elizabeth Dial team. Definitely looks to be one at a very, very nice price here at 12-1. We missed the early price. I think it opened up around 40-1. It's been backed into 12-1 now at the minute. Really and truly, like you look through the form, the last time it ran was in Clonmel before lockdown kicked in March. Very, very easy winner that day and soft. Behind it was Rebel Gold, who has since gone out on to win, I think, twice or three times and placed once or twice. And Jack Hackett for the Dot Love team. Really and truly, Jack Hackett has been in serious form since. So when you're looking at, I suppose, potential value there, Farmix isn't too far away. Like, at the end of the day, you're looking for, I suppose, each way value and horses that will handle the ground. More than likely, look at, albeit it's a different, I suppose, direction they're going to be running in. Like, Navan is a left-handed track, Clonmel is a right-handed track, but the two, I suppose, courses in itself, they're not too dissimilar. I suppose, slightly undulated. I know Navan is a little bit flatter, but there is a very, very steep climb coming up to the finish in Navan. Just like it is with Clonmel. But I definitely think Farmix, it's a natural front runner. Navan does tend to like front runners that are good enough to go from the front. And definitely Farmix certainly is good enough to go from the front. It could well come home with a very, very clean pair of silks, and 12-1 definitely looks to be serious value. Next race then, the 320. What are we going with here now? We're going to go with Pike County at 6-1 for Denise Foster. JP McManus and Mark Walsh. This one here looks to be potentially well thrown in here at this one. Small enough stable, very, I suppose, you wouldn't hear too much about this particular stable, especially the fact that JP has, I don't know how many he has in with Foster, but I can only imagine that he only has one or two at the very most. I've never seen any horses run in JP's colours from this particular stable before. Mark Walsh taking the ride would say to me that this is JP's number one choice. At the end of the day, look at it's run some fairly credible races on the flat since resumption of racing has come back. So it's got the fitness runs under the belt. It's on a fairly lenient mark. Mark Walsh takes the ride, one of the best jockeys in Ireland, and yeah, I'd be fairly confident to say that this Pike County at 6-1 is definitely going to run on for an each way shout here. 6-1 is great each way value. I would be suggesting having a small each way on this one. It's a competitive race, but yeah, Pike County definitely looks to be one that's definitely eye catching on form. Last race of the day, then next best, King Alex for the Barry Connell team. Oh, look at Barry Connell. His horses broke me heart in Thurles on Thursday, but we can't, I suppose, go away from the fact that his horses are on form. We missed the early price with this one as well, back from 8s into 9-2. Really and truly, that should speak volumes. Anytime that there is a fairly heavily gambled horse from Barry Connell since he started training, has more often than not gone on to win a fairly decent race. So yeah, I definitely think if this horse, I suppose, if the money is speaking well about this horse, and if the money is right about the horse, it should be very, very hard to beat. At the end of the day, look at it's a tough race to call, but I'd imagine anyway that this horse should be well primed and well ready to go. I suppose just unfortunate the fact that Connell had possibly one of the main fancies for Thurles on Thursday, but the saddle somehow slipped. Possibly just, I suppose, elastic girths maybe. They seem to be throwing a few problems with a few trainers. But yeah, I think 9-2 going back to King Alex definitely looks to be a very, very nice price. But I'm going to leave it there. It's touching on 17, 18 minutes now at this stage. I know, look at, I don't like putting on videos that are too long, but at the end of the day, it's 8 races, and it's hard to, I suppose, give off plenty of confidence in, I suppose, a short time with 8 races. Like, it's almost virtually impossible, but I'll try and, I suppose, cut down on the length of the videos anymore, and I suppose lead to plenty more, I suppose, enjoyable viewing at the end of the day. I'm going to leave it there. If you're going to be having a bet tomorrow, the very best of luck. Hopefully we'll be able to turn the Thurles farm around tomorrow, and I suppose we'll look forward to a very, very profitable week now next week. Thanks very much. Best of luck. Make sure to keep liking, sharing, subscribing, and tell family, friends who don't know about the Peaky Blogger yet. I'll be back again shortly, and thanks very much.